Welcome to NCIX Tech Tips. Today's episode is all about the Vesta 5220 SFF. It's basically the system that allows us to take the same amount of power that a normal size gaming machine would deliver, put that away, and cram it into a tiny enclosure that is capable of fitting an impressive amount of hardware inside. Now let's start with the outside. This is the all-new Fractal Design Node 304 case. It's an ITX case, so hence it's, well, small size. It's also extremely well thought out inside, allowing you to put crazy configurations. So we're going to have a look first at the outside. So the front has a beautiful brush finish, very minimalistic design that we've come to expect from Fractal. You've got a Fractal logo as well as a very small power indicator LED. Lots of ventilation, so there's ventilation in the bottom for that bottom-mounted, front-mounted power supply. We'll show you more about that once we open it up, as well as at the top of the front where there's mesh for the two 92mm front intake fans. On the front right, we've got dual USB 3 ports, a headphone jack, as well as a microphone jack. That bottom filter is actually removable. I accidentally removed it while I was trying to move the case around. So you can easily clean the filter that is keeping your power supply's air intake nice and clean. We've also got two other small holes on the outside, well, mesh holes. So this one right here is your power supply exhaust, due to the way the power supply is mounted. And the one on the other side makes sure that your graphics card, in this case an overclocked 660 Ti, is getting enough cooling as well. And then it is able to exhaust that cool air from the back of the case. So at the back of the case, we've got a 120 or 140 millimeter cooling slot. In this case, it's 120 mil because yes, we have a liquid cooler in here. It's a Corsair H40. You've also got that power plug, so there's an internal rerouting. I'll show you how that works after. The power supply is really cool how it's done in this one. And then courtesy of the Gigabyte Z77N Wi-Fi, it's a Z77 board, we've got PS2, two USB 3.0 ports out, dual HDMI, that's a new one, DVI, Wi-Fi, dual band Wi-Fi, 2 gigabit Ethernet ports, 4 USB 2.0, and the full complement of audio connectors, including optical audio out. Courtesy of a GTX 660, we've got dual DVI, DisplayPort, and HDMI, capable of driving 3 displays in surround and 1 auxiliary display, again, in spite of this tiny form factor. As always, we're going to crack this bad boy open, and the first thing we're going to discover is more filtered intakes. So that VGA intake has filter on it, whereas the power supply exhaust doesn't have a filter on it. So there's a very good reason for that. You don't need to filter exhausts because all you have to do is prevent the dust from getting into the case, not so much worry about keeping the dust in the case, right? So once we get to the inside, you're going to see that it is pretty jam-packed in there. You've got a couple of different options with this particular case. There is a third hard drive sled, so you could either use this as an ITX storage build, throw a RAID card in there, and then as long as it's, you know, a low-profile RAID card, short RAID card, you wouldn't have any issues. And you can support up to 6 3.5-inch or 2.5-inch hard drives for storage, or you can take out one of those modular cages and put in a long graphics card like we've done with a Gigabyte GTX 660 Ti OC Edition. So again, like I said, you're not going to be able to see much, but I really want to show you guys the way the power supply works in here. So here's that pass-through for the power cable to come in at the back, but here's how it's actually routed to the power supply inside. So you're going to want to make sure you put this system on a hard surface or lift it up a little bit off of a carpet to make sure that that power supply doesn't starve, because this is its intake on the bottom of the case, and then the exhaust is coming out the right side of the chassis right here. You can also see where we have the drives installed. So there's a 2 gig Seagate Barracuda storage drive here, although it's fast, it's a 7200 RPM, it's fast enough that it's not just suitable for storage duty. There's also a Vertex 4 128 gig here. So pretty much all the amenities are included. There's your water cooling, which we showed you, well, talked about before, with a 3570K. We've got 8 gigs of Patriot memory, and that's pretty much it. There's just like a lot of hardware in here, and all we can really do is, you know, take some close-ups and show you guys that it's jam-packed, but the system is fully stable, under complete system load, and it's so small. Now, we love nothing more at NCIX PC than bringing you guys better systems, faster systems, awesomer systems at lower prices and in smaller form factors and quieter, and this one pretty much does it. This is a very, very flexible system. I mean, 6 hard drives is a lot of hard drives, or 4 hard drives, or well, drives in general, with a high-end graphics card is incredible for the size of this machine, and we've got liquid cooling in there. I mean, you could probably even throw a thick liquid cooler in there like a Corsair H70 or H80. So neat. So basically, yeah, it doesn't even cost more anymore. It used to be so hard. It used to be so specialized to get a high-performance, small form factor system. Now you can just get one of these ITX boards like this one. You throw a high-performance graphics card, overclocking capable CPU, and it's like off to the races. Now, I normally give a recommendation in these episodes as in terms of what I would actually add if I were going to change the system in some way, but there's not much I would change here. This is really well optimized, so if you're going to buy a gaming system, there's no reason not to go with this one. Thanks for checking out this NCIX PC edition of NCIX Tech Tips, and don't forget to subscribe.